Hello, and welcome to the first segment on the road to federal court. Unlike in state court where you can file any claim, the federal courts have to have a jurisdictional basis over each claim in your case before you can have your case heard by the federal courts. This is because federal courts are courts of limited jurisdiction. The court has to have jurisdiction over each claim that you file. Now, we're going to talk about federal subject matter jurisdiction. There are two types of subject matter jurisdiction. The first is federal question jurisdiction, which has to do with the subject matter of your claim itself. There's also complete diversity of citizenship, and this has to do with the plaintiff and the defendant who are parties to the case. And today we're only going to be talking about diversity of citizenship. Now, what is diversity of citizenship? This means that no plaintiff is from the same state as any defendant. Here are some examples. Here we have a plaintiff from California versus a defendant from Texas. Let's apply the test. Is there one plaintiff from the same state as any defendant? No, we have one plaintiff from California, one defendant from Texas, completely different states. This passes the test. And here's another example. We have a plaintiff from California versus two defendants, one from California and one from Texas. Now let's apply the test. Is there any plaintiff from the same state as any one defendant? Yes, we have a plaintiff from California and a defendant from California. And although there is one diverse defendant, it doesn't matter because we have the plaintiff and the defendant both from the same state. So this does not pass the test. Now we're going to be traveling to a few different locations that will help you remember these different elements of diversity of citizenship. So now we're going to Kansas and we're going to be talking about home. What does it mean to be a citizen of a state? You're a citizen of a state where you have your home and you intend to return. And you're going to use the citizenship test to determine whether plaintiffs and defendants are citizens of the same state. Now, we're heading to Canada. We're going to be talking about non-citizen parties. When you have parties who are not U.S. citizens, you may not be able to apply that citizenship test. Now, in this first example, what if you have one party who's a U.S. citizen and one party an opposing party who is a permanent U.S. resident? You're going to treat the U.S. resident as a U.S. citizen. So you're going to be applying that same home and intend to return factors to determine where that permanent resident is a citizen. The second example is with a U.S. citizen versus a non-resident. In this case, these parties are always going to be diverse, and you're not going to apply the citizenship factors to the non-resident. Now let's head over to Delaware, the state where many corporations are incorporated, and talking about the citizenship of corporations, because corporations are often parties to a case, and so we need to figure out where they're a citizen to find out if their case qualifies for diversity of citizenship. Corporations are citizens of their state of incorporation and the place where they have their principal place of business. And large corporations can do business in many states, but their principal place of business is typically where their headquarters is located. So a corporation can be a citizen of up to 2 states here. And you want to be careful in really recognizing when a corporation has 2 citizenships when doing the diversity of citizenship test. Now, we're heading over to Switzerland and we're going to talk about money. One other element to diversity of citizenship is an amount in controversy. So not only do the parties have to be diverse, but the plaintiff also has to allege damages that are greater than $75,000. Now, you can figure out the amount of controversy by looking at the face of the plaintiff's complaint. The plaintiff has to allege a certain amount of damages in his complaint, so you should be able to easily find out whether he's met the amount in controversy. Now, how do you reach this amount of controversy? One plaintiff is going to add up all his claims against one defendant. So, for example, if one plaintiff has 2 claims against a defendant, one for breach of contract and one for intentional infliction of emotional distress, and in the contract claim, he alleges $50,000 of damages, and in the intentional infliction of emotional distress claim, he alleges $30,000 in damages. Now, looking at these separate claims by themselves, the plaintiff does not reach the amount in controversy, but you get to add those damages together, so the plaintiff has $50,000 plus $30,000 of alleged damages, so that's $80,000, and that case would meet the amount in controversy because it is greater than $75,000. Now, one plaintiff can also add up all his claims against multiple defendants if the plaintiff asserts a joint claim. For example, one plaintiff alleges breach of contract against the same claim against more than one defendant. So he can add up the alleged damages against all those defendants for that joint claim. And each plaintiff must satisfy this amount in controversy requirement. So if there's a case where there are 2 plaintiffs, you have to do this amount in controversy test for each plaintiff by himself. So if one plaintiff is alleging $80,000 in damages, the other plaintiff is only alleging $30,000 in damages. You don't get to add those 2 plaintiffs' claims together. You have to look at them individually, and you would say that the second plaintiff had not met the amount in controversy. So that concludes our analysis of diversity of citizenship jurisdiction. Thank you for watching, and please make a comment below if you found this presentation helpful or you would like to see a presentation on another subject.